come around this way.
Well, when he pulled me over, before he gets out of his car, I'm gonna turn on the overhead light, and I'm gonna put my hands on the steering wheel. I'm not gonna go looking for my ID, I'm not gonna pull out my insurance, I'm not gonna be digging around in the car, cause what does he think that I might be looking for or reaching for? Something that might hurt him, right? So I'm turning on the overhead light, and I'm not looking for nothing, I'm putting my hands straight up on the steering wheel. So,
Now, what about the passenger? Should the passenger have her hands in her pockets?
My seatbelt on.
Seatbelt on? Do you want to start looking around? Oh, my iPod fell. Oh, my phone fell. It's right here in between the seats. Let me go ahead and reach.
Because they're probably going to think you're hiding.
Right, exactly.
You not want it for nothing, just give it to them.
what about those people who say that am I being, what do they say? Am I being charged with anything? And then if the officer says no, then they do not show their ID. What about that?
It's case by case. It's case by case. The safe thing always is to give your ID. Because if
So you want to ask so many questions.
it depends. It depends on the case. There's no black and white.
Everybody in the car is detained.
Right.
You need to
Okay.
listen to the instructions, adhere to the.
It's a lot of gray area in that, and I'm not gonna get into it. I can explain, that's a whole nother deal. But
It's the wrong
just
time.
what I'm telling you,
drive
just go.
down or drive to.
Because if you, and that's a case law class, but because if you're wrong and you say, well, look, I don't have to identify myself because I read this and this and this and this, you could be charged with failure to identify.
But can you ask the officer first if you're being charged
Absolutely.
or if
You
you're
can ask
suspected of anything?
You can ask the officer
But
whatever you want.
What we're saying, we don't want to set the platform.
Right.
Because you heard something or you read something.
Right.
That you don't have to identify yourself, because I'm telling you, you're gonna lose that battle out there in the field, and you're gonna end up getting yourself in trouble. Listen to the instructions. If you have a problem with what's being done, there are other avenues to file complaints or just do a follow-up as to what occurred on scene.
And you can
But
request a
can I-
supervisor if you
Yeah.
like. You can request I want to speak to your supervisor because I don't think this is right, and that's your right to do so. You can absolutely do that.
Is it preferable to have your hands on the wheel or out by the window?
Just, I think out of the window gets, that's a little bit extreme, you know, it looks comical, it doesn't look normal, you know, just have your hands where we can see them, because again, you know, we deal with people who have weapons many times. Each of us have recovered weapons off of someone, so, keep that in mind.
So-
Weapons kill people.
So, and again, these are common sense tips. It's not a case law class. So this is
You guys
just
have
a
a question
way
over there?
to kind of make things easier for you on a traffic stop and to explain some of what goes on. So I take the documents. Okay, so I go ahead and go back to my car, make sure that she's not wanted by whatever it is. I come back, and I might give her a ticket. I'm probably going to give her a ticket for appearance. Otherwise, we get disciplined.
No, I still want to go back to one thing, because I've been teaching my kids this, and if I'm teaching them wrong, then I don't want to teach them wrong. Like, some of our youth do get racially profiled, like, they feel that they do. We
Right.
don't know for sure,
Right.
but they feel that they get racially profiled. And so if an officer, they're walking along the sidewalk, and an officer stops them and says, "Man, let me see your ID," right? He can't be like, am I suspected for something, or am I being charged with something? And if the officer says no, then say, I'm not going to give you my ID, because I've been telling them that if they feel like they're being picked on for no reason, that ask them, say, am I being stopped because I'm suspected of something, or that I'm being charged
And that's a
with something?
legitimate question.
So, because I've been telling them to just tell them.
I'm gonna stick with, don't get in that battle of trying to fight your right. If you feel like your rights is violated, go ahead and ask the officer what I'm being stopped for, by all means. That way, at least you know. It's being recorded, number two, especially in this city. Go ahead and give the officer your ID. If you felt you wrong, you can speak to the supervisor later. That way, that contact, that stop, less likely if you did do anything, you're not going to jail. Because you start going down that slippery slope and trying to battle out there, most likely you're going to lose.
It's working smarter, not harder.
Yeah. And then you
that's
go,
what we're-
you file a complaint and you deal with it later.
We don't want to set the platform that it is somehow okay to question an officer's instruction, because
But
it's
isn't
not.
it okay for them to question them if they're saying,
It's
why are
cool.
you
And a lot of
stopping
officers,
me?
and I've seen a lot of officers don't take the time sometimes to explain everything while we stop you.
Right.
But they
A lot of
should,
times it's
but they
reading.
should.
They should, but they don't have to go into complete. They can be real short sometimes. They probably you probably match the description of something that's happened, or we did this. Because it's so many violations, they're not gonna tell you everything. They're not gonna give you the.
But
but
they
it's-
have to give something,
They
right?
gonna
If
buy-
you
that's what I'm
ask,
saying.
right?
Ask. No, go ahead by all means. Ask.
Ask.
But cooperate, like, he got my ID, what did I do wrong? At the same time, you be like, what did I do wrong, officer? Again, attitude, attitude. I guarantee you pop an attitude, a lot of times, the officer probably, just be honest, probably gonna find something, either write your ticket up and take you to jail.
And
But
if
you
the
probably-
answer,
He have a violation, but he probably just gonna give you a warning, tell you, go ahead, man, you know.
and if the answer does not satisfy you, if you think, I don't know, this cop's, I don't know, I think they're lying to me, whatever. I think I was racially profiled. By all means, get the officer's name and badge number, contact the supervisor, and file a complaint.
Because I feel like if they're being stopped just for some kind of profiling, whatever, you look like you smoke weed or whatever.
What
If
do you mean profiling? Give us
Like nothing, like let's say,
examples.
we have this discussion with my kids a lot because I'm always trying to teach them how to deal with officers so that they don't get in more trouble or whatever. And some of them are like, no, they mess with me. Like I have actually a parent here right now whose child, when we had this discussion, we had a discussion about how to deal with police. He said they think that I'm smoking weed all the time. Like I don't even smoke, right? So let's say, for example, one thing that they had discussed that I thought to tell them, and I don't want to tell them if it's wrong, that if they're being profiled for any reason, like they're walking down the street, they know they haven't done anything wrong. If the officer comes in and says, "Let me see your ID," you ask them like, "Have I done something wrong? Am I being charged with something, or am I suspected?" And if they say no, then you say, "Well, then may I please go?" But if they say yes, that's when you have to participate.
Let me ask you this. When these youth are presenting these instances to you, are we gaining all of the facts about what happened? All of the background? All of the details?
No, I don't think that we are, but even
I think
without
the
it.
details are very important because it would be very difficult for me to conclude that someone's being racially profiled or something else if I don't have all of the
Well,
facts.
forget
You
about
understand?
racial profiling. One of the kids in my class, any of them, is walking down the street and they know that they haven't done anything wrong. They just left school, literally. And the officer says, "Hey, where are you going, kid? Let me see your ID." Can the kid say, "Officer, am I being charged with something? Did I do something wrong, or am I suspected of anything?" And if the officer says no, can't they say, "Can't I go?" Like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
you
saying.
could take, by law, yes, you
Okay,
could say that.
So then I just
But-
want to make
but
sure I'm
without-
not teaching something that
No,
will
no,
hurt
you
them.
legally
know?
by text, but I don't, the reason why I want you to text, because a lot of people spin that,
Yeah, they spend it.
okay?
And that's
And
why
then
we
the
keep-
officer start, you probably committed a violation already.
So then they have to say that. When they say that,
Yeah.
then you show your ID.
But sometimes, what I'm saying is sometimes it can already happen, you probably give a warning. Because a lot of times they're like, yeah, you did this, or you did that, or you suspected, or suspicion, or whatever.
Oh,
I'm
and
just
then
saying,
you're
they're
like,
not gonna give you the
and then
whole
they give
spiel,
you-
the officer's not
That's
gonna give you the
okay.
whole spiel.
That's okay.
Yeah, but
That's fine.
what you're teaching is correct by the book,
Mhm.
but I can guarantee you, in practical application, what the kids go out there and do,
Mhm.
they're gonna spin it and get themselves in a jam.
And that's
So
why
what the way I'm
dialogue-
telling you from experience
Mhm.
is just go ahead, if you know you do nothing,
Mhm.
go ahead and give me ID. What did I might stop for is already recorded. If you feel like you're wrong, you go to the supervisor. If it's they'll probably look at other documented stops. Why is this guy? It's probably other factors. I'm not saying that side.
Mhm.
They kid probably tell you one thing, and the officers or whoever.
You
I'm
know,
just
worried
giving
about the
you
kid, like
advice.
right now, if one of them was walking down the street and a cop stopped them and they
But
said,
the best
yeah,
thing
they
is what I said.
Yeah.
Just give me ID. What am I stop for? You feel like you didn't do nothing.
But I know that some of them don't think it's the best thing because sometimes they feel like the cop is looking for an area to get them, you know. So if they don't say you're
It's
stopped,
similar.
you
It's similar
know.
to the easiest way is similar to a traffic stop.
Mhm.
If you feel, officer, that wasn't me. There was another white car that was in front of me. I wasn't speeding.
Oh, it
So
doesn't
is
matter.
the car
Yeah.
the time to get into the
Mhm.
argument? Oh well, back and forth, or should this person take the officer to court?
Yeah, take them to court.
Take them
Mhm.
to court.
Take 'em to
Yeah.
court.
There's a time and
Yeah.
place for things, and this is just a common sense approach to make things easier on traffic stops or subject stops or any type of interaction with the police. and it goes back to what we were talking about was respect and the attitude in your behavior. And let me